Right, here are a few connections problems. It says an architect has been hired to help remodel the kitchen of a house. The kitchen is rectangular with a width of 18 feet and a length of 24 feet. So let's take a look at kind of a drawing of what that kitchen might look like. Okay, so it's 18 feet wide, 24 feet long. He creates a scale drawing. Okay, so he's going to make a scale drawing. That means on a little piece of paper, he's going to draw the same dimensions of the kitchen, but it's going to be a different size because it has to be on a little piece of paper. And it happens to be 9 inches wide. It doesn't say how long it is, it just tells us how wide. It says, what is the percentage of the width of the scale drawing compared to the width of the kitchen? Okay, so what we're going to have to do to find this answer is take the width of the scale drawing, so width of the drawing, and divide that by the width of the actual kitchen. And then we'll change that number to a percent. One problem that we have right off, though, is that the kitchen's dimensions are in feet. The drawing is in inches. We have to get them in the same dimensions, and it's easier to change feet to inches than to do inches to feet. So that's what I'm going to do. 18 feet is how many inches? Well, there are 12 inches for every foot. So I take 18 feet times 12 inches for each foot, and I get 216 inches. So instead I'm going to write this in inches, and now I can do my problem because they're both in the same dimensions. I have inches with inches rather than trying to compare feet to inches, which I could not do. So I take the width of my drawing was 9 inches. The width of the actual kitchen was 216 inches. We divide that, 9 divided by 216. It gives me 0.041666. That's our decimal value. We want to write that as a percent, so we move the decimal 2 places to the right, which gives us 4.1666. They wanted it rounded to the nearest tenth of a percent, which, remember, tenths are 1 place after the decimal. So I want to cut off right here. Look at that next number to see if it goes up or stays. 6 is bigger than 5, so that means I'm going to round up. And I round up to 4.2%. So the scale drawing is 4.2% the size of the actual kitchen. Right, Jason is working in his garden. The garden is triangular, which we see. We have a triangle here. The length of the longest side is 16 feet. So this entire side from end to end is 16 feet. He uses a portion of the garden for Okay, so this question is a little more complicated than the previous one. It looks straightforward, but there is one little trick to it. So it says Jason has a garden. It's shape of a triangle, and they've drawn that here. The length of the longest side from here to here is 16 feet, which is labeled. He uses one portion for herbs. That portion has its longest side is 6 feet. So from here to here is 6 feet. What's the percentage of the area of the herb garden compared to the entire garden? Now this seems pretty straightforward, and you would think you could just take 6 divided by 16 and change it to a percent, but you cannot. The reason is that we're comparing area, and area is not just our plain dimensions. Remember, area is in square units. So what we actually have to do here is we can start with our comparison of 6 to 16, okay, comparing the smaller triangle to the larger triangle in their dimensions. But then we need to remember that area is square units. So we then would have to square that amount. Which, what does that mean? It just means to square the number on top and to square the number on bottom, or to take those numbers times themselves. So 6 squared is 36, and on the bottom, 16 squared gives me 256. So again, here was the original comparison of the dimensions, but we're trying to compare their area instead. So we had to use square dimensions. By squaring each of them, we can do that. Now we can divide to find the percentage. So if I take 36 divided by 256, I get 0.140625. I want to write that as a percent, so I move the decimal 2 places to the right, and I get 14.0625%. Probably you would round that off to just about 14%. So again, don't be fooled by this one. When it says comparing area, we have to make adjustments for that.